Tom's muted.
309. I was on mute.
It's also 310.
That's how you.
No, he doesn't know. Okay.
All right, everyone, shut the f*** up. Let's ready to record.
We like to start every show by yelling, "We are tWoTcast." Can you do that with me? On the count of 1, 2, 3, go. We are tWoTcast. Now we can start.
The Wheel of Time Reread Podcast. Explicit and R. Freaking rated. Jono's the wild card. Always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a total dick. Tom is still obsessed with X-Men.
Previously on X-Men.
We are
Hey. You're viewing tWoTcast, the Wheel of Time read podcast. With me as always is Jono. Joe.
Oh, hey, Tom. Oh, you're yawning already?
Your
We
math.
just started.
What?
We just started. You're yawning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nighttime. I've been drinking since morning
Daytime? Oh,
Yeah, daytime.
okay, good.
It's dark time. I've been drinking since not dark time.
And you're in what
I
city
know
right
what you're
now?
talking about.
Miami.
Light time.
Oh,
You're talking about
It's
light
not
time.
quite. That's worse than I thought it was going to be. Well, I guess that's actually better, really. I guess I got that backwards. But yeah, but still, it's not.
Jono, everyone's already curious about your weird shirt change.
I was grabbing this out of the laundry, so it's just a penny from soccer. Just like one of those dumb. Yeah, it's just I saw it as I was getting on my Home Alone shirt, and I said, "Yeah, absolutely." But
mean, why not?
Yeah, well, why not? Plus, Home Alone did feel fitting considering the names that we all got.
I'm shocked Jono doesn't just take his shirt off multiple times
I
in
don't
episodes.
understand.
So,
I mean,
yeah, nothing's really different for me for that.
I can do that. I guess it's the content everyone's paid for with their
I mean, I guess we're good.
free show. Yeah.
well, hopefully they paid for it. If they haven't paid for it, I'm not going to say get the fuck out of here, but
Yeah, but you could.
yeah, but,
And you wouldn't be upset with yourself for having done so.
nah, I'd be all right with it.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the latest episode?
Episode 9. Let me tell you, overview-wise, like what I feel about it.
I can tell you what I feel
It
about
did-
episode
I mean,
9.
it doesn't exist.
It should have existed. And we should be looking forward to the finale next week. That might
That's
have
true.
It's a joke.
Honestly,
Yeah.
jumping into season overview, 2 episodes more would have made it
It would have probably been just
a much
vastly
better
different,
season.
right? It would have just really changed like some of the pacing issues, some of the cadence, and just kind of like what you could do with characters and that type of shit. So I mean, obviously that's unfair.
What if it didn't? What if, like, they were like, well, we're going to have to cut this entire episode about Leanne and her childhood because we don't have space for it.
Oh, it would have just been like really pointless filler, you mean?
Just more off to the
Yeah.
side shit that didn't happen in the book where it's like, what's going on?
I mean, it would have given us another episode to talk about, though.
There you go. That's the whole point, really. That I'm sure Rafe Jude could.
I would have watched that episode too. I would have watched a Min episode. Why
Yeah.
don't we get a Min episode?
Yeah, we could have had a min-centric episode. I would have been all about it.
That's season
I don't know if
2.
you guys know this or not, but men can get it.
Yeah, maybe not.
You have a cold open where she's having all these struggles, wearing dresses and doing things, and then she sees somebody walk by wearing pants, and she's like, "Wait a minute!" And then
Pants.
the credits.
Hold on 1 second here. You be wearing pants?
Welcome to the writer's room. That was actually never proven. I don't know if we ever saw whether or not she was wearing pants or not.
Yeah. So we all got together for New Year's Eve, an exciting super spreader event. And one of the things that was actually discussed is whether or not, did we even see what she was wearing really? Did we ever see if she wore pants? Did she wear a dress?
I mean, she's wearing a shirt, so I assume she's wearing a pants.
Ends up she's naked.
Let's not over-exaggerate how many friends you have in college.
It is kind of amazing that it's the one person that's like, we're obsessed with her pants, and we only see her under the bar.
Yeah.
Like, just from the bar up.
You see her from the waist down for a second, but I honestly couldn't tell. Like, not with any...
they're baggy. Maybe they're baggy pants. Maybe they're not slim fitting to her body yet.
Well, that's later on.
That's when she gets real sexy.
Yeah, yeah. She hasn't started wearing.
You think she's going to wear those dickless chaps just like Bran does later?
Yes.
I'm telling you, I'm going out on a. I'm going to die on this hill. I guarantee there's some sort of like leather work coverall thing that goes over your pants that we don't understand, and that's.
I know, but that doesn't make the joke more funny.
And isn't that what counts? Yes.
Our ignorance is funny, Tom.
I'm sure there's a lot of people they are ignorant. Not funny, but good enough.
Yeah, they are ignorant. They are funny when they're ignorant, which is all the time. Yeah, you want to, I guess you just want to jump right in here because we got a lot to talk about. This might, I will say, this might bleed over into next week's.
Yeah, welcome to our episode, season 1 overview recap thing, possibly part 1, possibly the whole thing. Who the fuck knows? Eventually we'll be tired, and then we'll just decide that we're done or that we're going to pick it up next week.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that even if we went to 1 o'clock in the morning, Jono would have a lot of things to say, and we'd have to bleed into a part 2.
Yeah.
I'm positive there will be a part 2.
Yeah. So we didn't really discuss how we were going to do this, guys. Do you want to do spoilers for the books and the show the whole time? Because there's no way to I'm just making sure
spoilers after walking out of the room.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to put this up in the corner here. Spoilers for the TV show and the books.
Yeah.
Because I kind of don't feel like putting this up the whole time and then taking it down every time I put something else up. So that'll just be in the corner the whole time.
It gets in the way of
There's your spoiler warning.
Yeah, you bought this shirt for me. Don't block it.
I don't know how I would do an overview and not do book stuff too. Like, this is our overall feeling of the whole thing.
Yeah. So sorry to everyone who hasn't read the books but watched the whole show. I should have by now. You've had literally 6 weeks.
I mean, if they want spoiler-free versions from the books, that is, of the TV show, you can watch all our other episodes. The first hour and change is usually just all the TV show.
Because I can't keep my shit together. Let's start off with Billy Zane's for the whole series.
Oh.
Are you ready?
Well, I mean, do you remember? I mean, wait, are you rating it again as a whole, or are you just studying your math and doing it for each?
I think as a whole, now that we've seen the trajectory
for the whole season.
Yeah, whole season.
All right, well, let's get right into it. Ratings.
Jono, move your head for yours. Oh, so you don't have to move.
5.5? Really?
I honestly, I looked down and I said, that works for me.
Look at Jono's head on those Billy Zanes. I like it better when your nose is resting in between two Billy Zanes heads.
It really does. It really does make it so good. All right, Jono.
Jono,
I can smell you.
Billy Zanes.
I same shit as always. I love the fact that we have a series, so probably should put this direction 1 maybe. But what their end fucking Billy Zane smells like sex, but in a good way, not like maybe we should shower now.
Not in a dirty way. He smells like sex, and I'm like, wow, that's one sexy motherfucker right there.
And let's just go out to eat, and let's just and that's not even a euphemism. Let's just go out to eat. I'm hungry. That was good work. I again, love the show. Glad it exists. At the same time, so fucking disappointed. And we'll never know until we'd probably read 8,000 excuses and get a little bit more information, like what all COVID didn't do to hamstring it, what happened with
I'm never
Barney.
gonna read that. I don't want to know. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I care to a certain extent,
Products.
but at the same time, like even with that, some of the writing angles on some of the characters just seem so fucking weird, and I just was frustrated. Right? If you want to hamstring, like change a little bit of like what Rand does, that's fine, but changing so much of it just seems weird. But we'll get to that shit later. So I'd give it 5.5 to 6. But
right.
Still a good smelling Billy Zane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sexy smelling.
A very.
Thomas? Ratings!
Yeah, in a good way. Yeah, a flat 5.
Ratings.
Flat 5.
Oh, flat 5. Okay. I was mildly expecting a worse rating from you for
I was too.
the
Yeah.
season as a whole.
No, I mean,
It's kind of shocking.
my opinion when it was all over, like it was quite the roller coaster. When all is said and done, it's just like I'm just like sigh, like
Less sigh. Yeah, okay.
I don't want to light it on fire, but I didn't enjoy the experience either. Like just blah.
Okay.
And I guess when season 2 comes back, I'll watch it because we do this, and maybe it'll be better.
Honestly,
I mean,
some of the things,
that is true.
some of the things
There's
better.
a very good chance season 2 will be better.
I will. I
A lot of
honestly,
levels.
I can honestly tell you that if we didn't do the show, like I would just not pick it up when it came back.
That's a little.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't be interested.
I do think
I
that
was
you got a
just-
very valid point. Some of the things that pissed me off, like what they did with Jagged. Wow, that's different. Agomar. It still frustrated me on the second viewing, but it wasn't as bad as my memory.
It's the kind of thing where like I wouldn't seek it out, but if it was on TV, I wouldn't turn it off. That's basically how I feel about the whole show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is kind of a
I'm gonna
bummer
agree.
because I should be excited about it.
Yeah.
I still am excited about it.
All right.
And it's not. So ratings. I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna lean 7.5. 7.5. Dano, you're in the right spot right there.
7.5 Billy Zane.
7.5 Billy Zanes, and I think what it comes down to is like just the mere fact that it exists. Like I can't go below 5, and then there was a lot of things I did like. There was a lot of things I didn't like that I felt were like not meant or like not done for a good enough reason, or rather they didn't reveal the reasons, and I'm just going, what the fuck are you doing?
True.
So maybe later on I'll feel differently and I'll be like, you know what, in hindsight those changes made sense, and season 1 but like right now I'm going, nah.
I guess episode 5 season 4 I don't want to be like, okay, now I get it. That's what I mean,
right?
Like,
yeah,
it's even the kind of thing
and I
where,
hope that's not the case, and I've said this to you guys before on the show and in private, I'm sure multiple times, but like I just feel like a lot of my problems were around the fact that like they buried the Emmons Fielders, and like the reason they did that was to keep the mystery strong, and now that the mystery isn't a mystery anymore, maybe it will be different next season, because like I might have a very different outlook for next season.
Sure.
Because it's like the little changes I don't mind so much. It's like we never even got to the Damani scene last episode, but like
did we
that
not?
little epilogue scene? Yeah, we were running so long, but that little epilogue scene and the fact that I didn't have a chain and a collar, and like I was like, whatever.
We did.
There's a bracelet. There's a big thing. Like I get it.
Yeah, it's just
I think I
ball
mentioned a
gags.
tidal wave killing a little girl, and that was it, Jono.
Well, that's
gotta take out that little girl.
yeah. I do think
I feel like all those Shan-Chan ships showed up, and they're just like, what the fuck is this kid doing? Playing on the beach? Get rid of her.
They're just like, look,
Get rid of her!
the
To all
second
the other
they
kids.
land in
Get rid of
civilization,
her.
we're gonna wipe them out, and then they
this fucking kid made that drip
it's
sand
just one little
castle.
girl, and they're like, no, we said we're wiping them out. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And it's starting with her.
I mean, we're committed now.
Odds are, Joe, if you'd put the Billy Zane graphics slightly to the side of me, and I ended up at 6.5, I still would have been like, yeah, that works. But it was just perfect, so I had to go with 5.5. It probably deserves
a
slightly better.
sand castle, and they had
Yeah.
like a telescope, and they just focused on it. They're like, there it is, the city.
Look at
wipe
this.
it out."
Brando says I average on my individual ratings 7.5, but I really need to binge rewatch to see how that feels. And Interesting.
I couldn't.
I do want to binge rewatch, and I'm kind of like, so we just did our last episode on Thursday for those that were viewing it live, that is. But
fuck yeah.
So this is a really quick turnaround for us, though, and I have time to watch 8 episodes of The Wheel of Time and take notes and shit.
I
so
honestly feel like
if I had binge watched it, I might have gone higher.
I feel like I'm less disappointed because this is the first time we've talked about the show where I haven't come right off the heels of actually watching an episode and being bitter and disappointed about it. I've had like some distance from it. Otherwise, if you would have asked me last Thursday, I probably would have given the whole season a 1.
You were like,
that's true.
The texts that Tom sent were pretty they're pretty exciting.
I watched the finale and I hated it, and then I rewatched it before our show and I was like, I hate this even more.
Yeah,
so everyone's like, "Oh, rewatch it again; it'll be better." I'm like, "Not for me."
There was a lot of comments last week about like your about like I'm on Tom's page, like this is the word, kind of thing. Like I'm not gonna watch this anymore. So here's the thing, like, and you had said, Tom, you said this to me, and I know you're gonna say,
I don't want to drag it down or ruin people's enjoyment, and like,
yeah.
I don't want to
I don't think none of us do.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on, like.
Yeah, but at the same time, like we want to be honest about our opinions, and we want to be like, this is what, like how we feel about it, like kind of thing.
It's also more entertaining for me to have hot, shitty takes than just be like, I can't. We can't do a whole episode of the show with me just being like, I guess I was bummed out, and like try to hold myself back and not just be like, this word, like, which I did not, but that's my general overall opinion of it. I'm kind of bummed out.
Yeah, it just
somebody that the three of us know very well in the community. I saw on Twitter this week, just finished the last episode of The Wheel of Time and then just wrote sigh. And I was like, all right, I agree with that.
I think that there's this bizarre, again, like, what the fuck do you want to do with COVID and Barney, which hopefully are 2 different issues. I don't know. But if someone gave me $100 million and said, good luck with this show or whatever the budget fully was, and this is what I returned, I think you're getting a C at best grade.
I would have spent all of that at the casino on the first night.
That's great. Great idea.
And since he's fucking James Bond, he would have won and then tripled his budget and would have made the best show ever.
$100 billion.
We can either make a bad show or we can gamble all this money, double it, and make a great show.
We already have a guy who's dressed up as Matt Coffin. Just use Joe. We're good to go here. It's just such a, again, that's $100 million.
Very nice, but I'm much too old.
Yeah. Like $100 million buys that. Again, assuming that's the correct number. That's what I've heard. Maybe
you're throwing these dollar amounts around, but I have no frame of reference for that. I don't know if it costs $10 to make an episode of TV or $100 billion.
Well, clearly it takes $80 million or $100 million to do this. But I don't know how much wigs cost.
I don't know.
No.
But,
the answer is no, we don't.
It probably costs $90 million to build Emmons Field. And they're like, well, we got $1 million.
You know what I was basing it on? Honestly, way back in the day, we were kind of told the budget, like, weirdly before. A lot of people knew the budget. But, like, I mean, we know people.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, we were told it was, like, around a $15 million per episode budget. And we're like, holy shit, that's really good. Because, like, that was one of the first things I was, like, initially kind of worried about. And, like Game of Thrones, for instance, was like 10 to 15 toward the end episodes. Meaning they started with less. They started with like 7 or 8. But 8 years later or however many years before the last season, like $15 million per episode. But that episode had like a rather large city and like dragons flying around and burning shit and explosions. And you're like, okay,
that's not even a fair comparison. That's still not a fair comparison because they'd spent a lot of money previously. They already had so much
like building that shit, right? Yeah. So based on that, I think the Trollocs looked pretty good, and and so based on that, like monetary budget, I felt like the Trollocs looked pretty good.
That's not my issue.
Meetings looked really good. Like
the sets, the CGI, all that's only going to improve as time goes by.
That's
exactly.
Probably but and to your point, Joe and Tom, I watched The Witcher season 2 over the weekend for New Year's. That's a weird custom that my wife and I have, that and champagne and sodomy, mainly for me. And there's something just like the whole production value of Witcher just seems higher all around. Like that's almost shot. It's also in their Central Eastern Europe. Yes, they are in a second season, so they kind of already have this built in, that kind of thing. And so maybe season 2 of tWoT's gonna be fucking phenomenal. It's already got this initial investment, but there's just things about it that just look just better. I don't know if it's camera angles or whatever the fuck. I'm not a very smart man. I think I prove that on a weekly basis at least. But
they're using a different camera angle.
I just think in season 1, you spend $5 million building Trollocs from the ground up. In season 2, you could probably spend $100,000 making them 10 times better once you've already put in the structural work. So it's hard to judge that.
But do we even know that? Like, we don't know shit about production. We don't know shit about this. Like, yeah, I get.
I know all that.
Well, we don't.
I made you guys watch it and do a show about it.
Anyway,
so that's a long.
Before we get much further, I kind of had this weird idea, and Jonna was like, that's great, let's go with that. And we want to view the season through the lens of whatever character we're talking about.
Good idea. Let's start the episode.
Well, I mean, that was kind of a rambling ratings discussion. So we want to view the season through various characters, and we're gonna pick a rando character and be like, this is the one we want to talk about for now. And we'll follow them through the season. Well, that being said, I was just going to be like, chat, why don't you tell us who you want us to hear from first? Because we did Moraine and Lan and the Emmetsfield 5. So tell me who you want to talk about first, and we'll talk about it.
Do you know how to do a poll, Joe?
Oh, he does.
I don't know how to do things, Tom. Are you kidding?
Not a yeah, I mean, all right, I know what you're talking about.
Penis.
It's simple. Emmetsfield 5 or Moraine or Lan. Just start throwing a name out there, and I'll
I mean, I can just pick somebody if nobody wants to pick somebody. Oh, Jonah's gone.
Well, we'll see what chat says. Jonah just ran away. I don't know what Boney Bob's doing.
All right, somebody picked Lan, so let's talk about Lan. God damn it.
I mean, let's do it. Let's do it. Man. All right, so Lan.
All right, to start with Lan, I'll say the same thing I think I said at least an episode or two ago or recently. I actually like TV show Lan, but it's not book Lan.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I really I like the TV version of Lan. He's great, but it's
so here's the thing, acting wise, and I've already ranted about the Warder thing a lot, but I'm sorry, Tom. I've already ranted about the Warder thing a lot, but I'll definitely pile on again tonight. Mm-hmm. But Lan, I think the actor did a fantastic job, and I think he is a likable character. I like Lan. I like TV Lan.
He might be my favorite character on the show. Well,
he might be
top 3.
Yeah, but I can't get past how the Warders have been nerfed, and it drives me crazy. It might be my number one hated thing about the whole show. And then on top of that, and obviously I'm just gonna use Lan as a vehicle to discuss Warders and the Aes Sedai, but the amount of time that we spent with Steppen and his Aes Sedai, and I don't remember her name, but it's just come on,
Karine? Is that right?
Yes,
Karine. Yeah, Karina or whatever. I just don't think. I don't think that's it. I just don't think not that those episodes weren't good. They were. I just don't know how much it was needed in season 1. Maybe that's a storyline you save for season 2 or season 3, later on. You just don't need to explain the Warder bond in such great depth that early on.
No.
Before I care about the other characters that much. You know what I mean? In terms of just the TV show.
So I'll go with you to a certain extent here, in that, and I've got more to say about Lan, but I think that it would have been more helpful to kind of put that context there if Lan had ever been in a situation where death was even a viable option, right? If Lan had gone into the Borderlands, or into the Blight himself, and it was dreadfully fucking dangerous, then like all of a sudden, like you would understand like the concern she had, right? Or if Lan had come close to, some shit in Shadar Logoth or some shit elsewhere, when Moraine's hurt, and like kind of like vice versa, right? Where like she feels it, or he feels it, that kind of thing. Like Moraine's death, like scene, or close to death scene, really wasn't that. It was before we get the step-in part, right, where she's already hurt. Like it's not really that big of a deal because this thing is kind of already done later, right? The whole step-in part. So it's out of order. It doesn't really make sense for him to be.
Yeah, he already kind of showed the importance of the order bond by showing showing how seriously he took that Moraine's injury, and he kind of just like grabbed Moraine and was like, "Fuck those kids. I don't know where they went. They probably dead." And he was like, "All I care about is finding someone to help Moraine." He practically kept Nynaeve around to keep Moraine alive while he went and found help.
I don't need to see how serious it is for a warder if his Aes Sedai dies, unless that's going to happen soon or something. Like,
right?
Really, it's almost like you brought a loaded gun into the episode of the show, and then somebody put it in a drawer, and then the episode ended, and you're like, "What about that gun?" I'm like, "It doesn't matter. We'll talk about it."
Exactly. It's such a weird. It was. That's why it bothered me so much. It was such a weird, like, tangent to take when there didn't need to be that tangent yet. It's not something that I would have wanted to see later. It's just something that you spent so much time on in the first season that I'm going, why am I spending so much time with these characters? Like it's not important. Like, you know what I mean?
And they have bizarrely like healthy emotional relationships with each other, the Aes Sedai and the Warders, and they're friendly and like. It's weird. They're supposed to be literally described multiple times in the book, a wolf on a leash. Like not. This is my best friend who also has a sword. Like,
well, I don't mind that. I don't mind that, like, because there are certain things with like the Green Ajahs and others, and I think Varen mentions, although she kind of keeps her dude as more of like a congrats, you can carry books and then go train on your own. But like there are different levels of relationships. I think the Blues probably going to view theirs more that way to some extent. That's not the shit that bothers me. What bothers me is, as Joe mentions, like the nerfing of them just in general, right? Like, and I hate.
Yeah, that's the main issue I have with
they're guard dogs.
Character-wise and emotionality, like I liked it.
Yeah, I mean they do have relationships, but
yeah.
But
it's the little things like, and so I know, and I've said this to you guys before, but like the fact that he didn't stop Matt from stabbing Moraine and Moraine stopped it. And like, so you gave like a single tiny little moment to Moraine, and like, it's not like a big deal, but like in the grand scheme of things, but like you've given, like Moraine already has, and we can talk about more Moraine stuff in her section, but like, you give these other moments to other characters, and it might just be to like even the field, so to speak. So you kind of like,
but
like each character kind of has a badass moment thing or whatever, but like but those are the moments that you shouldn't take away from him. Like it's like one of those things I'm like, that's the part that makes him a warder, is that he's moving that fast, right? And he's there and all he cares about is protecting her. And I said this in another episode, probably multiple, but like the fact that he didn't go into the ways first drove me crazy. And it's like little things like that. I'm like, just little things. It's like, just have him walk in the door first. Stop letting him
walk into the ways. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Into the ways.
No, you're right about that, right? I mean, like the thing is,
so those are the things that really drove me crazy. I didn't really mind the emotion part. Like
I don't.
Seeing him laugh is like weird, but it's okay. It's
like watching a stone laugh.
Yeah.
But I think that there's like a secondary issue here in that, like, other than, Nynaeve, he doesn't have a relationship with any of the Edmonds Fielders, right? Maybe a little bit with the Queen, just because they traveled slightly more together. But like, one of the things that was most important to me was Lan, as we've seen, we've read this part of book 2 to a certain extent, right? Like, it's kind of jumbled, but Lan having an allegiance to some of the Edmonds Fielders, Lan showing the Dragon Reborn as he's, soon to be unveiled to the Amirlan. You do this custom from the Blight, from the Borderlands, and like kind of having that little quirky smile he kind of dons as he's always just like laughing at, why am I doing this? Oh, whatever, fuck it. I think that's one of the like most like humanizing things that he could do beyond laughing even, is just all of a sudden showing this like other side of him. And this Daniel Henney is, I think, an awesome actor. And honestly, every single actor in this show, I have no complaints with whatsoever.
Me neither.
Like, the writing that's given. Hetzky, the cat crosses the courtyard scene, right? You know,
most of the chat is talking about sword forms and training the kids and stuff, and like that is a part of it.
We don't get a ton of that in the first book, though. Like it's like
you don't, but you get a little
lines when they're at camp, like when they're on the run, like Shane or Logoth for their.
Yeah, but and a lot of that was cut. Which is fine because it's a show, and you don't want to spend 8 years of them just like walking to the next campsite and being like, and let's train with the weapons that you guys.
You know what? I'd watch it.
Actually, I would.
Well, also, I would too. But also, the kids are older now. Like they're not in the show. They're aged up a bit. So like maybe Bran knows how to use a sword a little, you know, for whatever reason, or maybe he's like not as incompetent. He would have been in the show.
Still pulls that sword out from under the bed, and Rand's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So
I was just a joke.
Yeah, that's true.
Character. We should have chosen the Heron Mark sword, and then just never had it mentioned.
So again, I'm talking about stealing little moments from Lan, for instance. Like Rand drew again. I'm back on the Matt dagger scene. Rand drew a sword and like held it in his face, and I was like, it would have been such a small thing to make him be there too fast for Rand to have drawn that sword all the way and shoved it back into the sheath. That would have been amazing. And I would have been like, oh, Lan's a badass. And it's just like, why not give us these little things? Like where Lan like does crazy shit. The only other time he did anything Batman-esque was when he like appeared in the street. When Steve was
and that was so over the top. I was like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
The one time.
She's literally watching him sitting at a table laughing with his family and then goes like this.
Turns her head for a second.
You know? Like, what the fuck? He had to have been like eating and then thrown his bowl down and raced.
I don't want to complain like the one time I saw it. Like finally, so I just let it go. But I was like, man, that was hilarious. And I really want the scene of the point of view from the people in the room with him at the dinner table.
Yeah, just like throws his bowl.
What the fuck are you doing?
Leaps over the table, rolls across the room, bursts out of a window, and then like brushes himself off real quick and then walks around a pillar.
That and they walk in and the family is so excited to meet her. So maybe on his way out running as fast as he fucking could, he's like, I'm gonna go get my girlfriend. So weird.
Chance, I'm getting laid tonight. Be right back. What's that?
Oh my god!
I think this chick's pretty hot. Gotta go.
Well, some bread, you know what I mean.
Lan had a lot of funny scenes. It was still hilarious when he was standing.
It's the warders in general. I feel like we're painted in a weird light, and it's like little things like taken from Lan and given to nothing. Like it's again taking away the Moraine thing with the dagger, the Rand thing with the sword. It's like you just made Lan look like he would just allow a sword to get drawn.
Just some dick just sitting there.
The deadliest fighters on the planet that have magical strength granted them from the Aes Sedai turn out to be
this fucking kid drew a sword out. Like, what? I mean, I guess you could argue like he's not threatened by Rand. You know, like he's like whatever, you know, kind of thing. But like, I mean, that is an argument to be made.
I
be
suppose,
like, well, he doesn't give a fuck if Rand takes the sword out because he can just take it away from him like a baby.
Well, next character. Who do we got?
We're moving on.
I mean, I could go on forever, baby.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We can move on. I mean, I guess let's just do natural progression. Let's go to Moraine's character. Or do you want to go on a smaller level?
I don't mind going to Moraine. I think Rosamund Pike, again, excellent actress, and she brought a lot of
Wait, Jono. This is the end of our land discussion. I'm kidding.
For now.
All right, so let's talk about Moraine. You can speak, Jono.
Oh, I see. Again, I thought she was awesome. I thought she brought a lot of gravitas. To every scene she was in. She, while not ageless per se, she still kind of had a very, honestly, Moraine-esque to a large extent for me. Right? I think that was just well done casting. And I think that she clearly really wanted to kind of bring that in as a character. In some parts, I didn't love some of the writing, but again, as an actress, as an actor, she was great. But at the same time, I feel, and maybe this had to happen, right? This is in no way Rosamund Pike's fault. I feel like certain things were given to her as Moraine to make her be a bigger part of the story, right? Like to kind of take some pieces, from here, from there, right? Like you said, that she stops the dagger instead of Lan. She does this instead of other characters, and she's
on that note though. I want to talk about this further, but continue. But I want to talk about more about her being overpowered in general, less about that.
Do you think she's overpowered? Well, we'll get to that. Well, we'll get to that. But so I think that there's I think that certain things were given to her almost as an incentive, you have to stay. You're not here for, all of book one and then have nothing. And there's an interview with.
Oh, you mean given to Rosamund in general, as an actor?
Yeah, to make her stay for more in the second season, right? To make her the leading character, not just because who is Dragon Reborn, but also to keep her more of a prevalent character in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's my assumption here.
Still a
I mean,
weird
maybe
choice overall to have that character archetype be the focus of a story.
You didn't
it's kind of
it doesn't make any sense.
It's all about the hobbits.
It's literally Gandalf.
It's not about Gandalf.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But in this case, she thought that he thought that Ian McKellen needed to be there all the time.
I don't know. It's just strange to me. At first I thought it was
I don't hate that decision.
You could have found other ways to hide who the Dragon Reborn was from a general audience, maybe.
Fan cloth.
As far as your everyman entry point character for just a general viewer, it's certainly not the most powerful, knowledgeable character in the cast. It's just strange to me. I don't understand. Who am I supposed to be like? It's fucking weird.
Well, there's also the thing that what they really did, the ultimate trick that they pulled was to
they made people think the devil didn't even exist.
Close enough. They made the Dragon Reborn such a distinctly uninteresting character, right? Who gives a shit about the Dragon Reborn?
I also couldn't. This is just a
Random
complete aside. But how every single person in the current age keeps calling him the Dragon and not the Dragon Reborn really started to bother me. And then in the one flashback we get, she's like, "Well, you're the Dragon Reborn to Luce there," and I'm like, "God damn it!"
No.
You got it back. The whole season, it was bothering me, and now you just fucking solidified it by calling
it worse.
Him the Dragon Reborn.
Maybe we're watching backwards, right? That's a different turning, or that's actually the next version of it. That's what's going on.
I really thought they captured Moraine very well. I mean,
it was 95%. I think the only thing that was weird was I don't understand why we have so much of her. Same with Lan.
Which again, I thought getting a lot of Moraine was in an effort to hide who the Dragon Reborn was, which for season 1 it makes sense.
I thought the Dragon Reborn was Step.
But that's what I'm saying. But then you waste those 2 episodes. Those that will forever be in my brain is why? Episode but not the whole of the episode was you had at least 2 episodes worth of time. I will say that you could have shown more other things going on and still gotten that point across. Even you could have even done that stuff, just done it in a less time and shown more. Why jump 1 month later in their travels when I would much rather have had an episode where they were traveling and they were all on the run and we were watching them back
1 month later.
Have,
you said that and it fucking melted my mind. The first time I watched that live, I just went
the best TV shows and movies just pop up 1 month later up on the screen.
All right, but what is concentrating on Moraine though? What her lack of plan going into the Eye of the World bothered me. And she's just channel into this thing. What? And then there was this little thing at the end, and I swear to God, and this is episode 8, so this drove me fucking crazy, and I might have said last episode, but she's talking to Rand after he does it, You know,
Do
and
it.
like,
He's like, do it.
and she's like, and he's like,
He
just
does
tell
what?
everyone I'm dead. You'll figure out a way. He killed the
He
dark.
cuts the
one.
guy.
I
He
did
cuts
it.
the
I
guy's
did it.
shower curtain in half.
Yeah.
He did it.
He did it. But like, so Rand thinks he did it, and like he's tell everyone I'm dead. I'm going. I can't go back there. I'm a male Chandler, and I'm gonna go crazy. You know, and that thing. And then she walks away, and then Lan comes up and goes, Moraine, what's going on? Are you okay? And she's like, I think this was the first battle, not the last. And I'm like, and then you let the Dragon Reborn walk away? Like, what the fuck?
I'm annoyed.
What is
I don't know what she thought it
happening?
was the last battle in the first place. I'm pissed off when Swan was like, again, I know I said it 50 times, just like, hey, think the Dark One's got a boo-boo.
Yeah.
This is our chance. Let's go to the eye of the world.
So much of this.
And then apparently we can just go to when we feel like it.
Yeah, but fuck me. Like all of it. Oh, back on the topic of Lan. The fucking Nynaeve knows a tell might have made me drop some stool on my chair. Like
That's
that
why I was like, I can't believe you're moving on from Lan. We're not going back. Though. There's no
I'm
going
so
back.
sorry.
We're talking about
I
Moraine.
have
I mean, it's kind of about Moraine. It's about her tell.
yeah. And
I figured it out, by the way. I figured it out. We were talking about it
Oh.
a lot last episode. I don't know if you guys know this, but every time they make camp, like she just writes Moraine was here on a tree. It's so obvious.
with a fucking arrow through
I don't
it.
know why Lan. I don't know why Lan doesn't know.
Oh, is this already here? Yes.
Nini's just walking around going like, there it is.
Yeah.
So easy.
Like that's just bad, right? Like that's what bothers me is that's just bad writing, right? Like what happened? Like, unless the writer got COVID and that was his last words, you get no excuses for that. Like that's just bad writing. It's fucking awful.
It's written on his tombstone. Moraine has a tell.
Moraine has a tell.
All right, you know what? If that's true, okay. You know what? Fuck it. That's amazing.
I would have actually been happier if Moraine had a tail, like a horse or a dog. And I would have been like, all right, I mean, it's not in the
Oh,
books.
that makes more sense.
But
Maybe
it's
Lan's
a
unaware of it.
tell, like, furious.
All right, Hetsky has an actual
Shielded.
comment here. Moraine's stilled or shielded. I think it's a tied-off shield. I agree. I do not think she's stilled.
I think it's very clear it's a tied-off shield.
Yeah, even in the episode, the way the one power was working and what he was doing with it, and the way it looked when he
There was this like
to her.
cage that encapsulated.
Yeah, and it melted into her body. Like so, they kind of did that with Logain, but it was sort of always there. Like it was visible. Like it didn't like melt into his skin. You know, like kind of thing. And I think that's what that.
I think so. I hope so. Obviously, right? I mean, unless we're really forcing the Egwene at this point as a healer. I'm sorry, Nynaeve, considering what happens. Inverted is an interesting thought there, Beej.
I mean, I kind of agree.
But I feel like that's honestly, Beej, I loved everything about that until I thought about kind of the level of this show. Like, and I hate saying that. I don't think that's anything that we're going to get into, right? I don't. Like one of a literally foundation.
Yeah, everything seems to be a little overly simplified when it doesn't kind of need to be.
A lot. I don't know if there's two sides to the source, and I'm not like I don't know. It's a weird thing, right?
I think there is.
Clearly, men have an issue like with channeling, right? But there's a white thing going through and a black thing going through? Because it seemed like Rand was at one point, or was it Rand or
Rand when he was
Malzahn.
swirling the white and the black was swirling separately?
Yeah. How was he able to do that?
Well, let's get to that when we talk about Rand.
Oh, well, are we done with Moraine? Because guess what? She's the
I don't
main
know.
character of the show. We got 6 more hours on this.
I think we have more to talk about with Moraine.
What's funny is we've obviously I haven't gone as a rewatch yet. I watched it in 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, etc. And man, I missed the misty-eyed times of episodes 1, 2, and 3 for me when I was far more upbeat about the show because I liked so much of kind of what had gone on. I thought she kind of did a good job, kind of getting that hard ass, if you don't follow the light, I'll fucking murder you, kind of thing. And she was far more implacable, almost, kind of at first, versus later on, where she's just kind of like, good news, I brought a Sun and Grail for whomever.
Yeah.
Again, if you have a Sangreal for Rand, I'm going to assume you have one for Egwene, or you've been lying to everyone about what gender you thought the dragon was going to be. So if you've got a female Sangreal, you could have saved everyone's life 80,000 times for the last fucking 8 episodes, right? Like that's.
So based on her being overpowered, though, how much was she using it already?
I don't think she's overpowered. Like, explain to me why you think she's overpowered.
I mean, maybe she's not. It's just like the Emmons Field fight in general. I was like, that was a lot, but maybe it wasn't.
I don't think it was.
Maybe I'm judging that too harshly.
I think it was too slow.
I guess her healing Matt on her own. But maybe that wasn't what I thought it was, and he still needs to be healed.
If so, then that works, right? I mean,
yeah. So like maybe that's not like what I thought it was,
I feel like all the channeling in Emmons Field especially was too slow, right? Like it was one of the things that kind of bothered me about how she stopped Matt's dagger.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of they were letting her like breathe as an actor and like swirl her hands around and like get into what it meant to do that in real life, and like that kind of stuff I kind of am okay with. Like like give this human being a chance to kind of figure out how this magic makes sense to them. Like that I get,
But it also makes them incredibly like vulnerable to a certain, to my mind, right? Aes Sedai, it literally takes her 10 seconds to kind of, obviously what you're going to do to like 30 Trollocs versus like one White Cloak who wants to assassinate you is presumably different. But, she's sitting here gesturing like this, doing this, ripping the stones out of the only stone structure in Emmons Field. Thanks a lot. And we'll get to that question in a second, Brando.
So he says, did they make the Sangreal gender neutral? But we'll pull it up a sec.
Fuck it. I could just change over topics. I just think that it's a weird thing about how long it took her to kill some Trollocs versus to stop
versus others. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Joe, is the Sangreal gender neutral? And that's not like a weird like.
Whether it is or isn't,
is it?
What I'm more concerned about is her gun holster for it, because I think that was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was. I mean, like, it's clearly something that men and women can channel into and use, right?
We don't know that. I mean,
is it sort of like the Eye of the World in the books, where it was like infused with a shitload of extra power, hence the extra swirls around Rand?
So her description,
and he was putting all of his energy into it, and it was like stored energy somehow.
Her description of the Sangreal was almost, thousands of people have channeled or can through it, which makes you think either they kind of just, like you said, deposited 1,000, worth into this. I don't know. The longer I talk about it, the dumber I sound. That's normal for me. But I think it's just the lack of context that. And it's not like an intriguing lack of context. It's just we're off the fucking map, right? Like we're not on the map.
So that's kind of my main problems with this season. It's not in the show in general. It's not that they've changed a bunch of stuff that I disagree with. It's not that they've like gone in this direction when I think they should have gone in this direction. Like I'm not a writer. I don't know what their grand scheme is. Like I don't know where they're going in season 2, 3, and 4. Like maybe, and like Rafe has literally said, like, I have 8 seasons plotted out in my brain. I'm sure it's loosely, but like, he's got like an idea of where he wants it all to go. And like, but like it's the little things that like seem like it was not purposeful. And you're just kind of going like, well, what?
You guys keep asking if Sangreal's gender neutral. Like I'm literally asking this question. Have we learned in the show in all 8 episodes that there's a distinction between a male and female half of the source? Or I
don't think we have, and we kind of were talking about that, but I don't think
we were talking about that earlier. And we're going to probably get to that to a certain extent when we get to Rand's arc.
I think Rand might clarify, or our discussion of Rand might clarify.
It's the same power, but just men are fucked up when they use it.
But again, we'll get to that because and I hate that we'll get to that because A, we probably won't fucking know. I know I don't. But secondly, it is one of the very many. it's overarching important question, right?
It's insane.
I don't understand how you don't have that clarified. We've never talked about. It's always been like, when men channel, they'll go insane, and like we had the whole thing with a lot of pussy cum. I kind of like this. I can't say it. I'm laughing.
It's latra pussy de cum.
That's Latin for a lot of pussy cum.
Where's a lot of pussy to come? Like, not right now, but a little bit.
I really wish I still had that still, because it had the subtitles up, and I would have been like.
So when people mention the bonus features, like I don't like that's not an excuse.
Yeah, let's talk about bonus features. They're bonus features.
Fuck that. So
it's there for people that want to like dig deep.
That should be if I'm super into it and I want to know a lot more. Not
you need to get
across the show to me and helps me understand it or enjoy it.
Yeah, that makes failure on a show's part to depend on the bonus features to like explain shit to us. The bonus features should be like additional fun crap to learn.
Yeah, that should be like what happened with Manetheren. Well, what happened was this. Like that should be, if we had gone through, like, when we go through Shadar Logoth, like Shadar Logoth was an ally of Malkier, right? That's what those things should have been, just like fluffed up. Like, this shouldn't be tantamount to Brandon Sanderson telling you who fucking killed Asmodean in the middle of a goddamn appendix. Like, that's not cool. Like, that pissed me off then, although always read the appendix. But like, or the glossary, excuse me. But like, this is like, it's the same idea, right? If you didn't press the X-ray button, then you have no idea that the best way to have a lesbian hangout is through whatever the fuck, or whatever the hell.
Well, I mean, honestly, just for instance, like the last episode, Jono, I was like, it's the dark one, because we were in like just
when you pause it says
section, and you were like, it says, wait, does it say Balzamon or Ishmael?
Ishmael, and not ISH or not ISHA. It's just Ish.
It drives Jono insane. They misspelled it.
They misspelled it.
Anyway, but it says Ishmael.
He's honeymoon.
Yeah. So, like, and I honestly, one of the things that I did really appreciate.
The point is, I was trying to say that differently because I didn't even know that, because I didn't click on the fucking X-ray.
You stupid dick! You got to press pause.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they made, like, Swan and Moraine's relationship one step, like, closer. I think that's fucking great. I think that really catches all of our expectations, really.
Also made them care a lot more about each other.
Yeah, except for Tom Maryland.
Like, there was no stakes. Like, I mean, sure, I guess, but like, they're like, in terms of Swan being in the tower and like Moraine running around doing crazy shit, and never talking to each other, like, there's not a lot of like, I don't know, connection between them, other than like we grew up together and we both witnessed this thing.
I also had a roommate.
I actually kind of liked that they took it a step further. What I didn't like is that they went to some Tarankriel dream shard or wherever the fuck that was, but that's fine. That
was awful, and just like it changes your expectation as like if I've never watched or read these books, I have so many different thoughts on like what the power can and can't do, what's the norm for the day, what's going on here, and then you're wondering like, why aren't you guys like doing this more often? Like, to a certain extent, it's a fucking waste that Moraine has this, right? Or that is in her room that she goes and visits once every 3 years.
I mean, even the joke that we said in the fucking episode where we're like, Tom was like, well, can't she just bring that into the tent she's staying in and go back and talk? Like, can't she just nail it onto a tree and be like, let's go? Like, why does she have to be home? Yeah. Should be in your backpack.
The only time that you're literally within like 100 yards of each other, you use magic powers to go to a magic place to fuck.
It's so silly. It's so insane. It's so silly. That's kind of what I'm talking about. So like, again, using Moraine as kind of like a launching point to discuss like the one power in general and like objects of the power, like the Othrod scene, like kind of thing. Like, that's like the kind of thing where you're like, so I get them trying to show. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
One of the things that is the Othrod.
So I get the TV show,
kind of enjoying it, and then like that was one of the things where I saw it and I was like, I can't fucking watch this.
You're like, what the fuck? Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous.
The idea that they need to illustrate a thing or an object or a place or whatever the fuck from the books.
That
in
sounds
a
like
different
sex.
way for a
Same
TV
object place.
show.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
But the idea that the oath rod is important, fine, that could be a line of dialogue. But the idea that the oath rod could be used to do other things
Anytime.
is like way later in the books, and
Hey,
you're
will
like,
you give me-
why are
will
you
you give me a
going
ride
out
to
of
the
your
airport
way
tomorrow?
to illustrate this?
Two things.
It's just,
That's it.
yeah.
I love that we interrupt each other so like often, but at the same time, as soon as we realize it, like, oh, you go. But let me tell you something else. And we're so fucking bad at it, and in a great way.
Yeah.
But secondly, it could have been very easy to have had a, maybe it wouldn't have fit in the overall narrative. We could take him this way from poor Steppen, R.I.P. But like, have
Stop that.
never have a raising of an Aes Sedai, right? Like have a joke about her, like you're an Aes Sedai, like swear on the oath rod, that kind of thing. And then
They could have made an Nynaeve and accepted in this season because of how quickly they got to Tarvalon.
Well, we'll get to that in a fucking
and that could have illustrated the oath rod, or like, well,
you don't take
I guess
that. In a fucking
you need that
second.
for the Aes Sedai,
Yeah,
but like they could have
just
explained
so
it in a line of dialogue while making her accepted. Jono is what I'm trying to say.
So
Like,
much
you could have been like the oath rod, very important. It's the next step.
So the rule,
that's what it is.
The rules show don't tell means like don't do something in 5 lines of dialogue that you could do in 2 seconds of visually.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean spend a 1-hour television show showing us something that could be explained in 2 lines of dialogue. They really got it backwards.
Interestingly, like I tell my wife,
kind of my
nothing,
point, yeah.
And then I instantly come on her and I was like, "Oh, dirty talk, missed that one."
Jono,
should have told you that.
I don't even know.
I mean, you don't know how to do anything. I feel like.
You're welcome for pulling that
All
up.
right, so are we kind of done ranting about the One Power and Moraine and?
No, I'd like to talk about the One Power with another character.
I could do it forever.
Every one of them, like not every one of them, but like.
Well, if we're talking about if this is the Moraine section, let's limit it to Leandrin or like Aes Sedai. Like,
okay, I'm ready to move on then.
All right. Well, we're down to the Emmons Field 5.
I want to talk about Egwene or Nynaeve now.
All right, you pick.
Okay.
Either one. I hate the fact that they apparently
don't start. Which one do you pick?
Egwene. Egwene goes from.
All right, we're talking about Egwene.
Yeah.
This is our Egwene discussion.
And
I quite liked Egwene. I don't think I don't have any problems with anything that happened with her except the situations that she put in that were weird.
Describe weird.
Well, just like the end of episode 8, where I'm like, all right, I like the character of Egwene.
Yes, okay, that totally qualifies.
Well, except
I think
found out that Karen was in love with her, and she was like, I'm kind of sad. Can we hug? I'm like, what are you doing to this guy?
Tom, she asked if they were okay, and he said, yeah. Problem solved.
Message to all women out there, like if a guy's in love with you and then he's like, but we'll just be friends and like we can hug and cry, like he's still in love with you.
What? Tom and I are still friends.
For 100%. No, we're not.
I really liked I think Egwene did a great job the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything bad to say about Egwene or her arc in general. Like
where I was
she hit
going
certain
to go
story beats from book 1. I think she with like in terms of like training with Moraine, I really liked the scene in the waves where she's like, I didn't mean to channel, I'm so sorry. And like that actually tricked me. Like later on in the episode when Rand was like, that was me, I was like, oh shit, that was him. And like that actually got me. You know?
Shockingly for me with Egwene, no notes. Nailed it.
Yeah.
So my only thought about Egwene was not related to Egwene. And that was more of like I was just going as a continuity from Moraine about how she had, 30 minutes with Moraine a couple times. And then next thing you know, like her abilities to channel.
Well, that's a good note to talk about. There seems to be a lot more of a natural ability to learn to channel in the show. Like,
why the fuck do you go to the tower? One of the things that I feel like that Jordan himself could have done better was really discussing the idea of like raw power versus
Yeah,
dexterity.
you really got to go to Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry if you want to be like, if you
Wizardry.
want a degree.
Yeah.
If you want a degree, you can get your GED and just like live on the streets.
Well,
But
fucking
if you want a degree, you got to go to Hogwarts.
You could have gone to the French school.
yeah.
I mean, all right. True.
Les
We're
incompetents
British, right?
Baton. Was it the Bapetons or whatever the fuck? Yeah. Les incompetents?
You kidding right now?
Yeah, they're Les incompetents.
Yeah. But like the thing is, she was able to, again, why it is that Egwene even was the healer in this case, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason in episode 9, 10. But it just, she's so capable so quickly, so early to do so much. That's the thing that frustrates me. Like, why even go to fucking Hogwarts? I was about to say. Why even go to
Why even go to Hogwarts?
They're so powerful. Like, remember,
I think maybe this will be like played out in later seasons and maybe even season 2, but like maybe there's something to be said for like raw talent and strength and power that they clearly exhibited versus like somebody that can't do shit and can just do like a trickle. Like Suan was like fucking channeling and like helping her father on the boat, which I don't necessarily agree with. I'm just saying like they're illustrating that like someone that's strong and like can kind of do things without being learned.
I mean, a lot of what made Egwene what Egwene is was going to the tower, being captured by the Shanshan, training with the Isle, like all of it combined. But like, I don't think she's fully formed yet. I think we see the core of what she could be, and then things are going to happen. And like, I don't have a problem. With where the story put her character, I don't have a problem with her character.
Yeah,
no, 100% agreed. And you can put that comment you just.
Well, what do you mean by that, Tom? I mean, Cliff.
Oh, I mean, I think I actually said it like 3 minutes ago, and I'm repeating myself. But again, just
okay.
So Egwene's character was great, but having to deal with Perrin being in love with her, having to link with Amelisa, and like stuff like
that,
I didn't like the linking with Amelisa thing.
The places where you put her was like weird.
Was odd. Yeah.
Again, I think the actress herself,
a little
comment. She was perfect. I think she was an amazing actress, right? She really did channel fun. Like a lot of how someone would feel, right? And I think she actually did a better job than book one. Book one, Egwene, obviously being 16 versus 19, or whatever age difference you want to put it up, right? Is a far more mature, but also even given the maturity gap, like really seems to make more sense, really. As for why she went on this journey, why she could be here, and why she's still, almost enjoying it more than some of the others because she's got that like kind of independent spirit and flair. I think that book one Egwene would have been proud to be season 1 Egwene. Really, I think that's well done.
The only thing off book with her was when she ratted Perrin out for talking to wolves or having yellow eyes like the second Bran walked into
that was, but like, honestly, I looked at that like that's a change I love. Good
job.
I know, but like again, that's a change I love because like one of the most frustrating fucking things about the Wheel of Time is that they never like tell what's going on with each other. And you're just like, God damn it, just communicate.
Let's
get into her and Rand's further development in terms of like a love interest. Like I felt that was strong and I loved that change. Like, is that something like, okay.
I think it actually makes a lot of sense that they're clearly banging or at least sleeping together. Maybe it's just
it just makes it more powerful. It was such a small thing in the books. Like I remember us recording like 10 years ago, let alone when we covered Eye of the World recently. And I was just like, why are they acting like they're like engaged to be married? Like it's such a silly, like it seems so frivolously small. Yeah, it's such a weird relationship to be concerned about. And granted, that is something young people do, but like it made so much more sense in the show to age them up a little bit and be like, yeah, we're literally going to get married. This is our life. Like this is the direction we're all headed.
It works.
I liked it a lot more.
It works fine to me, except for the fact that like she's played as like being like obviously clearly actually in love with him and only giving it up for duty, as opposed to like, I'm promised to you as when I'm 15, 16, and then we get a little older and we realize like, yeah, we love each other, but we don't love each other. So it seems like weird to imagine her being okay with him being with other people, especially if one is also an Aes Sedai, just like she is. So that throws it off.
That does throw it off a little bit.
And
You're
then-
right. I hadn't like thought that
we
like
haven't seen
through
where
to
it
the
goes.
end.
And it gives Rand some.
Well, maybe she's okay with it because she falls in love with Galad. And I mean, Gawain, because we all know Gawain.
It gives Rand some pettier moments, I guess.
Well, we don't know where the fuck they're going.
You're the one that left me, bitch. Like that happened like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, God damn, dude. Like
he's upset. She's gonna become a wisdom. A
That's
wisdom
the
never
name of
marries, Tom. It's
episode-
very serious.
It's not a
That's
not
the
a
name
good
of
look,
episode
not a good
5,
look
season
for
2.
his
You left
character
me,
so
bitch.
much.
Yeah.
Like, really bitter.
You left me, bitch, is the episode of season. I love that, Jono.
It's just
All right,
Rand
Liam Schultz has
fucking
a
around.
really good comment. Does making Egwene Ta'Veren lesser autonomy, her abilities, achievements are dictated rather than being earned by her actions? I would say no more or less so than Rand Mat Parent. You know,
Well,
like
I
kind
mean,
of thing. Like,
I think that's the point, right? I think that Liam's got a great point here in that, like, to a certain extent, one of the most interesting facets here is like the idea of Deus Ex Machina. I was like, well, this was going to happen no matter what, right? What other, if I forget who it's told to, but you're allowed to shift your life slightly as long as you're just a normal human being. But you know, I can't become king unless that was meant to be, but I can certainly become like, you know, slightly better off, right? You can do certain things. So Egwene kind of like grabbing that, yeah. If Gawain's never the show, we will all jump for joy.
Welcome to the 20-minute part about not having go win.
Yeah, but like, Egwene
Here we
kind of
go. Why
showing
did
I'm sorry, I don't have a card for that. I don't have an image for that one.
I mean, I could just talk about it off the top of my head.
Jesus. But Egwene grabbing that, I think, is actually a very much a testament to like her will and, you know, like self, you know, confidence and powers. Obviously, presumably Ta'Veren doesn't just mean like, hey, I was meant to go from A to B and whatever happens in between, fuck it. It's still up to you as a character, but it's certainly if you're not Ta'Veren, I would think that it really is more of a testament to your, you know, internal abilities.
It matters only if, as a reader of the books, you feel like it lessens her for not being Ta'Veren.
I mean, I've been a proponent for many years that
flip.
she should be Ta'Veren and should have been like she's
even
the
more
ranks of the Aes
impressive.
Sedai so quickly she becomes the fucking Amirlan seat from a split tower. Like it's fucking crazy.
Does that make
the levels of like warping reality that she does in the books? Like that's not Ta'Veren, and then anyway.
But that arguably makes her more impressive that she achieved all those things while being stuck in between these 3 assholes and still managed to pull
Fair
off.
enough.
Or
but I don't think less of Matt because he's
they are,
Ta'Veren.
like, who gives a fuck? Like I don't understand. It might not. Why is it relevant?
I guess there's a question.
I guess it's not.
I mean, it's really it's a 50-50. You know, it depends on your viewpoint from having read the books whether or not you think. If we have to go, he's likable, I'll kill myself.
And that's the end of that.
Just fucking melts my brain. I could be like just about to fucking come and I just die.
By the way, I have yet to like bring it in here, but I made a fucking image of like Aram literally split screen with fucking Brendan Fraser. It's identical. Like it's crazy. I should really get on that. Anyway, my fault, guys. Egwene as
did
a
you say
season
you never
whole,
brought it
as the
on?
season
You brought it
one
on several
whole.
times, didn't you?
No, just not the. I'm saying I literally put them next side by side and was like, "That's fucking crazy." And I haven't shown it yet.
The showing of the gift is a 5-minute conversation.
Anyway,
and worth it.
Egwene's story arc, season 1. Final thoughts.
Right on track.
Yeah, her story arc is perfect. Again, what the fuck they do, like as Tom mentioned, at the end.
Well, except for I don't like it where she can heal dead people.
yeah.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Was she dead?
The sixth power. And what she
So fucked up.
I also hate I hate
I
that.
actually have a problem with that, but we can talk about it with Nynaeve. Go ahead, Jono. Sorry.
I just hate that entire. I hate that entire thing in Tarwin's Gap. Literally the entire fight, right? From you built one wall, you killed all your soldiers here. You don't have boiling oil. You don't, like you said, like every single thing from like my mind. Again, I'm not.
Or if they did, show it.
Yeah, show it.
It's not like they didn't. They just didn't show that fight at all. It's like they ripped through that wall, and every man in Faldara, like very quickly.
Damn the ending of this season. God damn it.
Yeah.
It felt like World War Z, where all the fucking zombies just climbed up on top of each other, and instead it was just Trollocs.
I would
have a lot to say with Egwene
and
the
after showed up and Ermengar got on it and flew away.
I have a lot to say about Egwene and like the channeling thing with Amalisa, but like it could also be saved for the Nynaeve section. So I think we should let's sally forth.
Sally forth.
Being as it's 10:15, I'm thinking we save Rand for the next part.
Oh,
so who do you guys want to talk about in this episode?
Tom?
No, you pick because I'm going to go smoke. And then I'll come back and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll do one more character.
Fuck you, because I was going to get another beer.
Wait a second.
Well,
all right,
whoa.
Well, if we hold on a second here, boys. If we all need to break, let's take a break real quick. And
taffy time.
Come back. Yeah, let's do a little.
What's the time?
A little taffy time.
Taffy time.
All right. Well, we'll come back. We'll wrap. We'll pick somebody else to talk about. We'll wrap everything up. That'll be good.
Sauce estivale colon.
Sauce estivale colon, substance de cauchemar.
Oh, Taffy.
I love every single.
I mean, she's just the best.
Tabby Bennington is one of the best things that's ever happened. I love one of the things that
I love Lamp.
makes me Alan Ramonchuk, one of the editors for Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
He and I have a nice romantic pen palship going, as you've known for a couple of years. Alan, he wants me to alert him whenever a new Taffy Bennington show or movie comes up. Because
he can do that himself.
Yeah, he doesn't know that. He's old.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. But
oh man.
yeah. All right.
Anyway,
well,
yeah,
before we get to the last character, why don't we see? I don't know, because Cliff isn't here. Any thoughts from the audience?
Buddy Bob?
We don't have that up on there.
All right, so we have the Emmons Field 5. We also want to talk about, well, minus Egwene, but we also want to talk about Padden Fane, and we also want to talk about Loyal a little bit. But and obviously you're not allowed to pick Rand, but audience, who do you want us to talk about next? Nynaeve?
And we would accept Cliff as
Aaron?
a conversation because Cliffs have been so prevalent.
and or dangerously open balconies. We will talk about that.
I know Tom didn't mean to, but Cliff as a name is now kind of perfect for him. He's going to have to do it next week too, or one of us could.
Oh, but someone has to.
Yeah, assuming it's not just picked today.
We gotta vote for Nynaeve.
And
since it's the only vote so far, that's the one.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of like that because it kind of follows in. I mean, we talked about Lan, we talked about Moraine, and we talked about Egwene. So it's kind of fitting that we just follow through with this one power Aes Sedai idea.
Yeah. So your thoughts on Nynaeve, Joe? What do you got?
Nynaeve!
Nynaeve! Well spelled.
I mean, that's how it's spelled, is it not?
Yeah, it's good enough for me, man.
Pretty sure that's how it's spelled, Jono. I mean, I looked it up in the glossary before I made this graphic. Man, Nynaeve. Let's see here.
One of the things
kind of similar to Egwene for me, and I think you're going to disagree with me on this because you've kind of said as much. I kind of loved Nynaeve, and I didn't have a lot of problems with her, almost at all. I mean, similarly to Egwene, I disliked some of the situations that she got put in, especially like episode 8, like Tom had mentioned. But like overall, pretty solid. I actually kind of liked the sped up version of her and Lan's relationship. We can get more into that in a second because I'm sure you have thoughts. Just actor wise, she did fantastic. Like she was great.
The actor?
The actor? I suppose Jackie Gleason is the Secretary of State. She's by far the best character in the show thus far.
Hard agree. Love her.
Proto TWS. I agree. She's one of my favorite characters in the books anyway, but nailed her. I thought she did a great job. Also, they really gave her like those are the changes that I'm like, bravo. Like when she healed everybody, I thought that was fucking badass. Like the explosion of the one power, all the little threads going out and like hitting their wounds and like healing them. I was like, fucking more of this, please. Like that was amazing.
I love her so much in the books that if they would have fucked it up in the show, I'd be losing my fucking mind. So clearly, I love Nynaeve in the show.
You've lost your mind a long time ago, though, so I don't know if that's
but more for the overall.
Yeah, that can't. I mean,
yeah.
Trying to figure out whether or not Tom's lost his mind or not doesn't. That doesn't track.
I like almost all of Nynaeve. I think that there's a few things about her. I would like her to have. I would like her anger to be better explained in certain cases, and I feel like that probably in the books too, right? Like her just constant irritation with Moraine, I feel is unfounded, and I do think that they do. So Ayusha's saying she's perfect, the actress, the acting, everything except for the moments the show does to her. And yeah, Ayush, I mean, I think she's again very, very well done. I think that one of the problems I have though is just I think they made her obstinate for obstinate's sake. Now, granted, that's almost what Jordan did to her, but if you're trying to kind of bring these characters flesh out a little bit more, maybe do that better, because I don't think that it makes sense that she's got this hatred. One of the things I think that the show really missed,
I don't know, they did it okay in the sense that the wisdom or whatever that trained her went to the tower was belittled.
Although everything about
they added a weird thing and it made her hate the tower as a whole and less just Moraine.
Yeah,
but I see where your thought is coming from. But
let's go back to that though, right? I think that was a very interesting kind of addition, which they then fucked up though, right? If this is the idea that the tower didn't want to bring in, literally their thought was they don't want to bring in rednecks or whatever the fuck, country bumpkins.
Yeah, I don't know what their thought process is.
Is that an accurate story or a bad narrative?
I think it's a bad. Yeah, I think it's a false. Yeah, false.
But because the next thing that's said, a couple episodes later, was our numbers are going away and we can bring anyone else in. You're like, what about country?
What about my redneck lady?
I don't know. Again, I think they did a pretty good job of her distrusting the tower and Moraine in general. And then they're thrown into this thing, and then and then her having to find everybody, and then later on through the evolution of her and Lan's story, which we kind of touched upon, again, a good reason to talk about it even this episode versus somebody else. Tying back into the Lan discussion, the evolution of their love story, I didn't mind at all. I really enjoyed those parts of the show and the changes of the show, and showing that making that the real reason she's like, well, what if I wasn't a wisdom? Because they literally say a wisdom never marries, and she's like, but what if I went to the tower and I wasn't just
I said I never married.
Opening that door of what if Lan I want to do, I hate the tower, I'll do this for you kind of thing.
Hey, what if I got extra not marry?
Well, no, I mean, she goes the I said I marry sometimes, and or whatever, and I know you're with Moraine, but what if I did this? Would that open the door for our love to
I've watched a lot of
wars. I liked it.
Campfires. Greens can fuck. Yeah. I'm all that very fine.
They don't marry, but
the only one that just kind of, it still frustrates me though that she doesn't quite really explain her anger towards Moraine better, right? Again, even knowing that her predecessor as the wisdom wasn't taken in, etc. That's fine.
Wait, real quick, even according to the books, wouldn't that wisdom have been too old to be accepted to the tower?
Maybe. We don't know that in this case.
I'm assuming. Isn't a knave too old, practically?
Yes. But we don't know when her
That's
wisdom...
why they jumped her. She is, Tom, and that's why they jumped her up to accept it right away.
I'm sure Nynaeve was an apprentice to a 15-year-old wisdom.
But it could have been 30 years later.
But...
What? Oh, you mean she went to the tower and was dismissed and then became a wisdom?
Yeah.
And
then Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Fair point. Yeah.
I don't remember there being.
We don't know when she went to the tower. Fair.
Yeah.
But why would they have kicked her out but taken old fish?
Her ratty clothing. Have you seen her, Tom? She's a peasant.
But Swan probably showed up starving half to death in rags.
Yeah, but
she's royalty incarnate. Have you seen that woman?
And a pliable underage girl. Uh-oh.
All right.
Mentally pliable.
Fuck out of here.
God damn it.
Mentally pliable. I think that's not a thing lacking though, right? The reasoning why is clearly lacking. But I think that justification, to me, it's always felt lacking in the books, really, of like her long-term hatred of Moraine until all of a sudden she realized, like, oh, I'm Moraine. Well, I still fucking hate her though. Fuck that bitch. I wish that they had done a better job here. Like, you've got the chance. I think an overarching thought I have for all of this is it seemed like Rafe Judkins and company, and like we're gonna get Rafe, the name credit because for better or worse, he's the showrunner, and sometimes better or worse. But in this case, like there's a lot of times where I feel like he's like, I love the series, but I had some ideas on what would make it better. Which to me, that's the pinnacle of hubris to a certain extent, right? Next time you sell 100 million books, give me a call. But I think that he wanted to try to like do certain things differently and better. And I think a lot of them he fucking missed. And this is one of those where I'm just kind of like, if you're trying to improve Nynaeve's issues with Moraine and with Aes Sedai, you missed it. Like it just missed it. Yeah. Sorry, anytime that we get a recurring one of our jokes, it kills me. Hello Sunday mentions that these books are a ripoff of Harry Potter. Correct. They also start in the tower around the same age, 10 to 11-ish, which is correct with the women. Or close enough to me. 100% correct there.
At least you want.
Yeah.
Keith Mosley says, Nynaeve seems very instinctive in her reactions. Take Leandrin's interactions. For example, I'd say her mistrust has a foundation based on what we see in the show. I agree. I think Nynaeve was done very well in the show. And
Keith,
honestly,
I love
her getting grabbed in the middle of the Emmons Field fight was like fucking mind blowing, and then the next cold open or whatever when they show like what's going on with her in the Trolloc, I was like, holy shit, like that was fucking odd. Like what a cool, like again, a cool change, like a really awesome change.
I think
instead of her going like, all right, you guys run off in the middle of the night and I won't know what's happening and I'm just gonna stay behind, and then like a day later she follows them. Instead, there's an actual reason she's not following behind them.
I loved when she killed the Trolloc in the cum. It was really fucking cool.
And that cum pool?
Yeah, it's a big cum pool.
Head cum, right? Because if you dip your face in that, you see the memories of whoever's cum you put in the pool.
A different one of those pools.
The memories are all the same ones as this. Yeah.
No, Tom. I saw it. Like Egwene, like pulled her memory cum out of her head with a wand and like swirled it around in the pool, and then Nynaeve was like, let me see where Egwene was at last night, and then she dipped her head in the pool.
And the Trolloc showed up.
Yes, and then the Trolloc showed up.
But Keith Mosley had a very good point, and that is that's one of my favorite, most Nynaeve-esque reactions, except for her actually saying it with Leandrin. When Leandrin just comes over like innocently, like, or innocently in quotations, like, kind of just talk to her, and then he's just kind of like, oh, what else do you want from me, bitch? Like, that's fucking, I think that is a very good encapsulation of Nynaeve as a character. Again,
the Leandrin discussion, the interaction with Leandrin in that one scene when she's sitting on a cliff, overlooking the fucking Aes Sedai camp is like perfect Nynaeve. It's like Leandrin comes up and she's like, hey, I'm going to try to manipulate you. And he's like, fuck you. Also, go to hell.
She doesn't come up to anybody. She sidles up to everybody, like, from out of the shadows.
Oh, hi.
Man, I think that's the low-key best part about this entire show, by the way.
You've been waiting outside for me all day.
Just fucking Leandrin having the Marauders map and just popping up everywhere. Fucking the best.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, I don't know what characters we have for next week because obviously this.
We have the three boys.
Yeah, we have.
No, you should add Leandrin because I think Leandrin is.
Oh, cheekbones? Yeah, I'll add her.
Have you not seen the X-ray scenes where, like, right after she has a conversation with somebody and they walk away, it's Leandrin by herself and she just taps a wand on a map and says "mischief managed" and then walks away.
Mr. What would their names be? Cheekbones? Does manage to miss. I don't know if she does, actually. I think she's... I want to know more about what happens at the North Harbor, which obviously is the clitoris. We find out later.
Or, I mean, that's where you meet men, if you're
your wife wants you to learn more about that, too.
She tells me that every week.
Is that tWoTcast for this week? Do you guys have more than Nave?
I don't know. I mean, we got a little bit more than even us, right?
So Tom won. Hey, good joke to finish it on. My wife hates you very much. No, that's me. I'm sorry, she hates me. Sorry,
I said her name. I said her name wrong. It's Niniave.
Yeah. But I think that there's just so many missed opportunities like that just could have been here. Like I'm not looking for perfection, right? I think my wife says that every day. She looks at me, and I think there could have been better. Like with all the challenges, just some tighter writing, some better things, just some like it's just frustrating to come here. And I think that there's so many cool shit. That's great grammar. Like so many cool things that happen. So many cool shits, plural, right? Like that happens, and then you just kind of end up in this. It's like drunk sex almost in a bad way. Like you just didn't finish, and like you're just kind of like, well, wish I hadn't had that last drink. Rafe Judkins.
Were you hard and didn't finish, or did you get whiskey dick and didn't even really get started?
I attempted, and then while we were switching positions, I just
tried to jam it.
Marmalade, Tom.
Do you know the difference?
So the thing that drives me, the one thing about Nynaeve,
banana into a.
The one thing about Nynaeve and Egwene being attached to that that Amalisa scene in the end of the season that drove me crazy is that like Nynaeve and Egwene both kind of embody that personality that would sacrifice themselves for the other. You know, like you could kind of reverse that situation very easily and be like, oh, Egwene, even though she's the younger one, she throws Nynaeve down and goes, I'm going to protect you from this. And I'm the one that sacrifices myself and I get burnt out. And if Nynaeve had been that, and if that had happened and Nynaeve had been the one to heal Egwene, I would have been like a little insane, but also in keeping with character. And I would have loved it. But the fact that they changed that and reversed it, it made it weird to me.
Watch and find out.
Those little things that like, other than that, I fucking loved Nynaeve.
There should have been two Nynaeves in that scene. One Nynaeve to protect the other Nynaeve, and the other Nynaeve to heal the Nynaeve. That's both are in character with Nynaeve.
That makes sense to me, right?
Yeah. Next time, boys, Leandrin, Loyal, Suan. Oh, we have Loyal. I can add Leandrin.
All right,
we kind of talked about Suan with Moraine, but we can add Moraine in.
I don't mind adding Suan. I think that everything about
Fane as well.
That's the preview for next week. So that's tWoTcast for this week. Look at the bottom. Look at the bottom corner of your screen. That's what we're doing next week.
Oh, sorry. Let me put that back up.
If you got
question mark, you're right on all counts.
If you got comments or questions, leave them in the chat. I actually read, in the comment section below. I read all the comments from last week. I just haven't had a chance to respond to any of them. One of them.
I have to say, I have been reading them. I haven't been like, cool comment. Yeah, like I haven't had time. Like I do want to. I do want to get better at that though.
Peter G just
also there was a lot of comments last week.
Yeah, Peter G seems sadly resigned at the fact that the show is about to get canceled. I don't think that's going to happen at all. It seems like it's doing.
I think he meant that in respect towards our opinion, and I think his idea was that our ideas might represent a larger portion than our being vocal.
But anyway,
I
think a lot of people are very candy coating this.
It does sound like obviously the Wheel of Time's already been greenlit for season 2. They're like almost done, I think, with all the writing for it. Yeah, but I love the idea that either he's concerned that we as tWoTcast are going to get canceled, and we appreciate that concern.
Oh, that's going to happen.
We should have been canceled like a decade ago. And we've been very upset about that.
We actually have been, and just ignored it. So yeah, we'll get back to those. This says you can listen to the audio version of the show wherever you get your podcast, but I have yet to see that materialize in like the last 4 months, Joe. So
if I get yelled about that one more time,
if you get yelled about it one more time, you're just going to post them on the internet.
I will.
I'll show everybody.
I'll show you. I'll show you all.
The theme songs are by Taffy Bennington. You just saw her, you love her. It's Anarchy 101 on YouTube, and Andrel, of course. Everyone's favorite Bard of Time.
The Bard of Time.
Yeah. Join us next episode for more Wheel of Time. Well, just wrapping up this season overview, I guess. This isn't totally right. And next episode,
I said more season 1 discussion and tWoTcast Wheel of Time D&D maybe preview. I don't know. We might have a little bit of preview. A little.
Am I crazy or is next week 310? This should have been 309, right?
No, 309's the holiday episode.
That's why I'm so fucking confused.
All right,
309, guys. I don't know if you remember, but 309, we watched Home Sweet Home Alone.
Join us next week for episode 311. Well, at the top of this goddamn script, it does say this is episode 309, by the way.
Oh, God damn it. I didn't change it for you. I'm sorry.
So, I want to first, like, it should be abundantly apparent.
Fucking confused.
It should be abundantly apparent that Joe does so much of the work here. And obviously is nevertheless going to catch. No, hold it right there.
Say goodnight, Jono.
Hold on. Let's make fun of Joe real quickly and give him plaudits. Like, Joe does so much of the work, but all I could think of is some poor in a month. I'll give you plenty of time, Joe. Like some poor guy just listening across like all the podcasts eventually, who is going to be just as confused as Tom reading.
They're just going to be like inundated with podcasts week after week after week after week, and they're like, "What the fuck is happening? What? There was nothing for 3 months, and suddenly it's 27 episodes."
All right,
you guys watch Home Alone?
We're wrapping up. Everybody leave here and go over and watch Leafcast. Say goodnight, Jono.
Good night, Jono.
Good night, Joe.
Keep the change in filthy animals.
I'm Tom. Study your math. See you next week while we cry more.
Or it might be happening.
Among the first to start, the tWoTcast was so smart to lovingly bash our favorite books. But that was long ago, and now they've grown the show, and now they got us in their hooks. Don't throw coins to these bastards, they need bars of gold at least. Someone please keep them afloat. Now let's listen as they once again ramble through a book. Let's get the fucking quote. One of them is Tom, but he is barely on. Sometimes he calls into the show. Another one is Jono. Is he their joker? Oh no. And Joe, is he the stupid one? Welcome to the tWoTcast. We will share our love for books and all our hate in every episode. We'll entertain you, make you laugh so hard you barely can stand up. That is the tWoTcast code.